Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMObomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. This is episode 202, recording on December 1st. Holy shit, it's December already. You're watching it on December 2nd or later with me, Mike Byrne, aka magicman, and my pimple. Oh, poor cheek. Poor cheek. Doesn't matter how old you get, kids, you're always gonna get them occasionally. Also on the line, pimple-free but extravagant cough, Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I am pretty lousy, if you want to know. But on the bright side, I do have this little mute switch on my headset, so
Oh, look at
now
that.
you won't have to hear that when it happens, or this sneezing fit or whatever. So
See, you are a trooper, a true MMO bomb free-to-play cash trooper. We appreciate
are we done
it.
yet? Can I go?
Almost. Also on the line from Free-to-Play Weekly, Mr. Glass Desk himself, Zach Sharps. How are you?
What's up?
I don't know. Before the show, there was
what
a
an
lot
intro.
going on below your desk, and
What an intro.
Yeah.
It's amazing considering it doesn't have legs.
Well,
That's true. I mean, now I can peer through my desk and see no legs there. I mean, now I can confirm with myself that they're not there.
there's shit going on under your desk, and now you're talking about piercing. So it's just Prince Albert. All right, let's go on and get started with the news. Oh my god, it's off the rails already. We haven't even started. All right, let's start the rapid fire round. Last week we were off for the free-to-play cast portion of the week, Thanksgiving here in the United States. So if you celebrate, hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Lots to be thankful for if you're able to sit around and watch silly podcasts like ours. So let's start with some of the smaller news, and then we'll roll to some of the absurd news. So first off, Tryon had a little bit of a back and forth going on this week, and this was after they already had to issue prizes galore to both Arcage and Rift players for server outages. So I did get my little Rift bundle. Thank you very much, Tryon. A couple extra days of my membership. Very cool. So, but after that, there was a little... Jason's headline, I think you used the best word that I would have thought of for the situation. A kerfluffle.
Kerfuffle.
A kerfuffle. Yeah. So here was the deal. On Facebook, Zach, if you missed this, on the Arcage page, they were talking about the Revelation packs that are going to be on sale for Arcage. And one reader kind of said, hey, you know, if are these packs going to be available for the Fresh Start servers? Now, if you're not familiar with Arcage, those are meant to give anybody that plays on them a totally new starting point with no advantages. You just jump in brand new, right? And that's a big deal for this game because of the land grabbing and some of the other mechanics in the game. Okay, fine. So, hey, can we use these packs? Are you going to be able to use them on a Fresh Start server? The answer was, and I'm reading it verbatim here, great question. No, this pack is for legacy servers only. The Fresh Start servers will have a different pack available at launch that's focused on cosmetics, not power or pay to win. We want to make sure everyone playing on the Fresh Start server has an even playing field. Okay, so from the advantage point of the Fresh Start servers, that makes perfect sense. So, and that wasn't the kerfuffle. That came in Tryon's maybe weird wording on they'll have a different pack that's focused on cosmetics, not power or pay to win, inherently striking in some people's mind the fact that they were pretty much saying the other pack, the Revelation pack, is focused on power and pay to win. And so this guy's caused kind of an uproar both on Facebook and Reddit, where players were like, hey, people, Tryon just basically said these packs we're selling are pay to win. Personally, and I want to get your guys' takes on it, while I can definitely understand walking away from that, this isn't one of those things, Jason, where it came out and you're like, okay, people are just reading way into this one. I look at this as, okay, I can see how they walked away with that. They said they'll have a different pack available that's focused on cosmetics, not on power or pay to win, thus implying the pack itself is focused on power and pay to win. So maybe silly wording, and I don't blame people for coming away with that, but I did not take this to mean, hey, our game is pay to win the way some people on Facebook and Reddit took it, Jason.
Yeah, I think it was. It's a case where if they mention it at all, if they ever say at any point that something is or isn't pay to win, that's going to get taken up to the extreme level by some sort of leap of logic by some people or whatever. It's going to balloon into its own thing. It's sort of thing where you almost shouldn't even bother saying it anymore. It's like I said in the article. It's like saying our game isn't pay to win is about as useful as saying that it's fun. You feel that way. The company feels that way. They have to say that. What other people
Unless it's EverQuest Next, then you cancel it because
right.
it's not fun.
Couldn't find the fun there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just so automatic at this point. They're like, it's almost like if you could ask them any question, like, hey, what kind of graphics does the game have? Oh, it's got DirectX 11 graphics, and it's not pay to win. Okay, well, what if my account gets hacked? Well, contact customer service, and we're not pay to win. So they have to throw that in no matter what, just because they know how ultra sensitive people are about it, and it kind of backfires on you when you cry wolf so often, so to speak.
Zach, what were your thoughts there, being a minor dabbler here and there in ArcAge, at least months ago?
Yeah, well, when it comes down to, I think pay to win is the most useless term now, because it's been so completely diluted over time that people use it on everything. Every free-to-play game is now pay to win, according to a lot of people. So when it comes down to it, their wording was terrible. I expect that from Tryon. I mean, if anyone makes this mistake, it's going to be Tryon. But, I mean, do I take away that the game is pay to win from this? No, I don't. I mean, there's a lot of other, things that you can discuss that are wrong with ArcAge, but for this particular pack, I think it was just worded incorrectly, and the person probably recognized that and just realized the shitstorm that they just caused for a game that's now going to be having a fresh start server that might get more people into the game. So it won't get me into the game, but I've seen a lot of people saying they're going to hop back in.
Yeah, I chalk this one up the same way. Goofy wording on Tryon's part, but ultimately I did not read it as, oh my god, even they're saying their game is pay to win, and that's how some people took it. And I'm not even faulting them for taking it that way. And more to the point, they were saying that Tryon admitted the pack itself was pay to win in that statement, not the overall game itself. But Tryon, I just send it over. We'll edit it. It's fine. We'll edit it, send it back. We'll help out.
They just try on too hard.
Oh
my god!
Wow. Talk about the levels of inception on that one.
Oh,
Speaking
yeah.
of trying too hard. What else? AD 2460, a game we don't really talk about much here. People have been playing it for years. It's a persistent sci-fi real-time strategy game that went free to play, and we've had giveaways for them. Good people over there every time we've interacted with them on a professional level. The game may not be for you, and that's totally fine. What I want to talk about, though, is something I think they did that was really cool, Zach. So, 5th Season, the company behind the game, was going to shut the damn thing down. They were going to close the game, and the community, obviously, that still plays the game, wasn't very happy with that, and so they started throwing their own feedback up on what they could do with the game. And as it turns out, 5th Season's actually going to take one of those recommendations and not shut the game down. I mean, this is pretty cool. Instead of having it be persistent, the game is now going to shift to a more round-based gameplay, so you play in certain rounds. And that's directly from the game's community, which offered it up as a suggestion to save the game when they announced in October that it was going to close. I think this is pretty badass. I hope this works out for 5th Season in at least a semi-profitable way. Because I think it's really cool that we actually see, hey, a game is going to close down, and the community say, no, here's what we think you can do with it, and a developer and a publisher look at that in a serious light and say, Zach, that might actually work for why we're shutting this game down. Let's give it a whirl and see what happens, Zach.
Yeah, I think that's really good for them to do that. I mean, the community obviously wants the game to still go on, so what better way to do that than take the feedback from the players and implement it in a way that I could see actually helping them as far as server stability goes. Like, they could probably lower the amount of load by just turning it to turn-based, because with a persistent world, you have to have everyone online all the time, maximum, all the data being uploaded. With turn-based, you could probably just have it whenever the turn's over, just upload it really quick and then download it back to whoever it's going to. I mean, that could cause some issues, of course, but at least it's still going to be a thing. and that could definitely help them keep the game going because it'll lower their operation costs and everything.
Yeah,
So
I think it's really cool. And we're not, obviously, Jason, we're not talking about the quality of the game, whether it's
Sure.
pay to win or not. You know, a lot of people started commenting their own personal thoughts on the game itself. That's totally independent to what we're discussing here. I think it's cool for them to at least take the shot, Jason.
Yeah, and one of the other interesting things they're talking about is how it's going to be in cycles now. In that it seems like it's going to be like a complete game. So it's almost like you're playing a game of Civilization that's going to last for a certain amount of time. In this case, it started on November 25th, and the first cycle will last until February 20th, and then the winners will be announced, and then I assume they'll start it over again. So that's another neat way of doing an online game, and I wish more games could do that. It had the capability to do that on some level. So you always have that kind of fresh start that you can get into and not feel like you're miles behind all the time whenever you try to jump in when it's ongoing.
Thumbs up to the community. You saved your game. We never see that happen. And who knows, maybe you've saved it for a couple of months, maybe you've saved it for a couple of years. We don't know that yet, but you saved your damn game.
So you're saying there's still hope for EverQuest Next?
No, that's gone. That one's gone. It never got a community because
that one's already buried. It's done.
Right. The City of Heroes didn't get this chance. All right. It's just hey, you're gonna
talk about digging up a grave.
Yeah,
Jeez.
you're gonna. Hey, I hear about Phantasy Star Online 2 from Jason at least once a month, so it's all right for me to throw City of Heroes in there.
Even they haven't been active enough for me to tease you.
Next up, we're not really talking about the game itself again. Tera is introducing their new 30-player raid in the. I think it went live already in the Fang and Feather update. That just went live yesterday, I believe, as of this recording. And so there's a new 30-person raid that you take on 4 dragons at once. You got to communicate and coordinate and all that fun stuff that you would expect in a big person raid and stuff like that. And then, shift from one dragon to the other. Lots of mechanics. Great. And there's a cool video on it. Looks very interesting. The reason I bring it up, though, is I thought it was funny that Tera dropped something like that in the game maybe days after the three of us were having a public Twitter conversation about raiding being dead as far as a full-scale raid. Now, I don't want to misrepresent anybody here, and excuse me for speaking a little more than normal. I'm trying to cover for Jason's voice a little here. So, I think we all kind of agree on the idea that there's definitely a place for 4- and 5-person dungeon content, and that we all agree that raids, okay, fine, if they're going to be a part of your game. We're used to seeing like 8- and 10-person raids do very well. I think as far as our Twitter conversation, the three of us were discussing the more large-scale type raid stuff, the 25 players, the 30 players, the 40-player type raids. And some of us are of the opinion that that stuff is totally dead. I take a little bit of a different spin on it. Let's get your initial reactions first, Zach. As far as large-scale coordinated raiding, 25 players and up, we'll say. Dead, alive, where's the MMO genre going here?
It's kind of in the middle, and as much as people don't like it, I think that the greatest example of that is World of Warcraft's LFR system. I think that dumbing down the content to allow a lot more people into it makes it a lot more appealing and a lot easier to get a group of players together that are just a bunch of randoms and be able to accomplish it. Of course, you can have a little bit of difficulty, but when it comes down to it, I think those are more suited for experiences now rather than actual challenge and best in slot gear. So for Tera, I think that if that's the case, which probably isn't, let's be honest here, the content looks really appealing. I mean, the entire video it looks awesome. Then the boss fight, the dragon's all flying around, you have to shoot it with like a catapult or whatever. It looks really cool. But when it comes down to it, would I check it out if I have to actually get an organized group? No. Because I find a lot more smaller group content a lot more appealing because the developer can do a lot more because there's less people to worry about, and it allows us a better array of content. And the best example I think of that is Guild Wars 2's Fractal system. I found that to be very fun. I got really far into that, and all my friends really enjoyed it because there was a bunch of different mechanics that we had to do that would not work for a large amount of players. They just wouldn't. So I like smaller content. I think smaller content's the future in terms of small group, like 3 to 5 players. And yeah.
Yeah, and I think, see, my problem with this is I do like that type of rating still. I still really do like joining my free company in Final Fantasy or in World of Warcraft, and practicing with a dedicated group and stuff. But on the business side of things, I think I chimed into that conversation to a comment that somebody, I think Zach, you posted it saying, large scale rating is dead, and I said I would agree with you only if you put the addendum on traditional large scale rating is dead. Looking for raid content is very much alive because it's scaled down and very easy to jump in and out of. And even Final Fantasy XIV with their 24-person raids, that is essentially, in most cases, a looking for group content. It is the easier raid tier, and generally you're not queuing up with a full group of 24 in most cases. So yeah, I still like that. I love the way Blizzard does it. They've got their looking for raid tier. If you want to go check out the story portions and do this certain stuff, then they've got their more difficult tiers that you're probably going to get a dedicated group to go do. I like that balance rather than having one or the other. But I wouldn't be surprised, Jason, if a few years from now we didn't see that one or the other. It was, if they had it at all, it was this more streamlined looking for raid type content.
I think Zach kind of nailed it when he's talking about LFR. It's like if back in the old days of WoW, your raid was 40 people and you need to all be perfect, and you need to have a completely excellent, no mistakes kind of group, that's dead. That's completely dead. You want to make that more accessible and more available to people, you either have to reduce the number of people in it, get it down to 10 or 20, the number of people you can actually control and get honed into that really difficult experience, or like you said, make it an easier kind of thing, something where 25, 30, maybe even 40 people can get together and kind of raffle stop it a little bit and get to see the amazing graphics and the gameplay and so on. Because like I said, I looked at this too. I looked at the Tera raid, and it looked really spectacular. But it would kind of suck to me to think that only a few hundred people could ever experience it because they would only have the awesome skill and a big enough group that they can get together to actually do it. It isn't worth it for a game company to devote those kind of resources into a mode that only 10% of people are going to be able to get into.
This makes me sad because I love that type of content.
No, you don't.
I do.
No,
I
you
do.
don't.
Okay. I love it.
You used to 10 years ago when you had no responsibilities.
I still love it.
Yep.
I still love it. I'll play till 4 in the morning if I have to. We're going to down that boss. There's just no greater feeling in an MMO than that working and finally doing it and not getting your loot.
I get more.
So amazing. I don't know why I don't do that more often.
I get more enjoyment though out of smaller group content like that. That's really, really difficult. That has a lot of complex mechanics. Because with large group content, there's only a certain amount of mechanics that they could put into it. And so for me, that it's more of an endurance fight than it actually is. We have to learn every little tiny phase that this thing does. Because like World of Warcraft now, one of my friends is a really hardcore raider with the progression raiding guild. At least right now he's playing a division, but he usually groups up with them. And they literally know pretty much every single fight going into every expansion now because there's only so much that Blizzard could do to make these things original. There's only certain amounts of mechanics because they can't be that creative because it's large-scale content. There's a lot of people. They have to look at it from a performance end. And so it limits the entire system. Where if you look at like the Elder Scrolls Online, or you look at a game like DC Universe Online, which is somewhat smaller content, and it has like I think 8-player operations, it allows for more than what for example World of Warcraft does.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that portion of it. I could see where you're coming from, but I think I think that's shortchanging the creative development cycle a lot. Anyway. Yeah, rating, love it, and that's fine. Different strokes, different folks. There, Zach. I mean, you'd like just a couple partners. I like a full orgy. It's just we pick one or the other. Whichever way you want to go.
I had a feeling you're going to go somewhere with that.
I mean, why pick from 4 when you can have 29 others? So that's just just a personal thought. Next up. Paragon and Zach, this is totally going to go to you. Jason and I will just sit back and get your thoughts on this one because you're much more in-depth into Paragon than the other two of us. The Monolith update that is going in on December 6th is basically changing pretty much everything about Epic Games' Paragon MOBA shooter-esque game. It's going to change map size, lane structure, general gameplay with movement speed changes, ability speed, attack execution speed, all kinds of changes to how damage, armor, health, and mana work. I mean, basically just, for crying out loud, revamping the entire game. What are your thoughts?
I think it's great. I think a lot of these particular features that they're going to be sort of changing are going to just amplify how great the game is. And this is speaking from someone who hasn't played it for a little bit, but when I did play it, I was very into getting my elo up, because there's a site where you can look at your elo, what like actual rank you are, because they don't actually have rank play in there, at least last time I played. And I was very focused on fine-tuning my skills, and there were certain things I just didn't like about the game. For example, the map size, it just seemed too big. So the reduction in that's going to be very nice. And the slowness of the game, which was definitely better than it was way back, but it still is way too slow. And so since they're going to speed it up, it's going to definitely look a lot better on trailers, which will get more people into the game. And it's going to make the game feel a lot better as well, because it'll be more going towards its potential than being slowed down to limit its potential, if you will. So I like the changes. I think that Epic Games is looking at feedback from the players, and they're translating that into revamps. And the revamps, as risky as it is, because it's changing like the entire game, and that could piss a lot of people off, I think it's smart for them to do it in the long run, because they have a greater potential moving forward to get in new players now because of this particular change.
All right, so Paragon fans, let us know what you guys think as well in the comments below. Finally, in the rapid fire, we got a 1990s MMO coming back from the dead. Hellbreath, a South Korean MMO from in the 1999 era, right around there. Kind of went dead and now is officially back. I mean, it was never disappeared because there were unofficial servers, but now it's back in an official form. And the development team apparently has been busy updating it since the relaunch, putting in new features, fixing bugs, and... Did anybody play this? I was like, it's back? I didn't know it was a thing.
I played this when I was taking breaks from Meridian 59. Yeah. No.
So there you go. I mean, we're just going to leave it at that. None of us is very in-depth with Hellbreath, but if you played it back in the day, it's back. I have a feeling that would be like Final Fantasy XI for me. Like, oh man, I really feel like playing that for nostalgia, and then an hour later, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
I remember why I quit this.
Moving on. I put this story in here not because of the game itself, but a viewer's comment made me think. So, Dark Eden, it's a kind of a vampire-y, a darker free-to-play MMO, made its way to Steam, and it's not new or anything, it's just now available on Steam. So if you want to go check it out, fine. 3 faction races type deals. But what made me put this in here is somebody, I want to get, here it is, Hovsep, on MMO Bomb's site said, I actually wish for a legitimately scary horror-based MMO. And that got me thinking, could something like that be done? Like, you could make an environment that, of course, is based on scary things, right? Like vampires, and I was so happy with, World of Darkness possibly being a thing back in the day with CCP, and some interesting mechanics there. But could you create an MMO experience that is genuinely scary? Like, I don't even think the Secret World, which is the closest to playing on your emotions and terror, has come in an MMO. They do much better in their little one-off games, right? Like the park and stuff like that. And it's easier to me to do that in a single-player, shorter experience. Jason, could you actually create, do you think, a scary, compelling, horror-based MMO?
I think it's tough. I mean, because like you said, you talk about the park as being a single-player thing. It's because horror stuff generally relies on that sort of one-off thrill, whether it's the jump scare or first time you go into the evil mansion with blood dripping from the walls or whatever. The 12th time you run the evil mansion raid, you're like, yeah, okay, blood's dripping from the walls, let's go kill the monster, get the loot. So it's like, MMOs are so repeatable, are meant to be that way, that the shock of it will really wear off, I think, after a while.
Right.
I mean, I think if you maybe made it more ubiquitous, made it everywhere. And yeah, granted, some reason, or to some extent, it would still be still seem like it's repetitive. But maybe if it wasn't like totally over the top, like I said, blood dripping from the walls, if it was just like, oh, I'm going to go through this village, and of course there are skulls all over the place, or this dune on a pole who's been sitting up there for years, just something to look at. Have it be more in the environment, as opposed to just the kind of shock and awe kind of immediate things. Nosgoth was a great example of a game that had that feel of it, that look of kind of an oppressive horror based world. Even the 10th time you play through those levels, they still gave you that ambiance. It really put that kind of oppressive feeling on you, that it felt pretty good in that sense. I just don't think you could do it with the jump scare and that kind of thing.
Zach?
I honestly, for myself, I don't get scared in video games or with movies or anything like that.
Well, I mean,
So
you've already
there's
lost
no
your
way.
legs. There's nothing more.
Right. So there's no way that I could really say that you can, because I just don't. That does not happen for me. But I think that there's definitely room for more like horror themed games to release, like Secret World, for example, or World of Darkness, at least what it was going to be. I think that's definitely a possibility. But to really go full on sort of Outlast or Resident Evil 7 and have a bunch of like jump scares and whatnot, like it's just not really going to work with an MMO setting, I don't think, because those are more of a scripted type events. And to have scripted type events, you have to have everything sync up perfectly. So it would be really terrible to go into a dungeon with someone or go on a quest or whatever and get a jump scare, and you see like there's another person that's in that same persistent world as you. They see what happened like ahead of time, and they're like, oh, well, now I know that what's going to happen, and it just completely ruins it. Or like in a dungeon, it happens like out of sync, and everyone in your group's like, oh my god, that's crazy, and then it didn't happen to you till like 5 seconds later or like a second later. So I think in a persistent world setting, it wouldn't work. If they want to do a more like dungeon oriented, like a very closed in style game, it could, but I don't think any developer will do that. I think more so they're probably going to go for more atmospheric things and more just horror themed things rather than just be full on trying to scare the shit out of you.
See, I disagree with both. I think it can be done, but I put a small qualifier on this. Because I'm a huge horror buff. Hundreds of Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS tapes, 1940s all the way through current. I mean, love the genre. Reading, everything. Gaming. That's why World of Darkness looked so appealing, even though my brain says, yeah, it would have disappointed what my brain had set up as the expectation. Of course, it always would have. But I think it can be done. And yeah, some of that revolves around atmosphere. I don't look at jump scares as being horror. It needs two things in my book to be scary. An incredibly compelling story with incredibly compelling characters. And that's where I think the MMO development cycle, although it could be done, I doubt we will see it in an MMO any closer than we have with the Secret World, simply because of how long that type of development and thought takes. And when you develop a compelling story and a compelling character cast, Jason, you are looking for them to run the course of the entire story, and that's it, which an MMO is not based, the business model is not based on supporting that. Here's all the content, have fun, and then do whatever. It's got to keep going, and that's where I think things would start to suffer with trying to write that type of genre blend.
Yeah, it's hard to have a horror game if you're not worried about your character ever really dying or being deformed or having, whatever.
Having your legs cut off.
There you go, having your legs cut off. Unless it was like a zombie game or something like that.
Speaking of zombie games, segue, lots of infestations. There may or may not be some tongue-in-cheek sarcasm going on here for this next little segment before we head on over to the bombs. For the new developer, Fredakis, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Do you really care for pronouncing?
I really wish you the best of luck, and I hope you're being totally legit with what you want to do with this. However, fuck. Here we go. So remember the War Z? That game way back when, Hammerpoint Interactive, OP Productions, and Sergei Titov, and all that crap. And then it got rebranded to Infestation Survivor Stories, which was a buy-to-play game. And then there was an offshoot of it by a Thai-based company where they called the game Infestation World. And basically it was a free-to-play version of a game you could also buy if you didn't want to play through this company. And there were all kinds of, and then there was a spin-off, Romero's Aftermath, which was done by a totally other company, but still had the hands of Sergei Titov in on it. So if you had that bad taste in your mouth, you didn't want to play Aftermath. Well, here's I guess the good news for those of us that were on the outside going, Jesus, this is a mess. And this looks like people just taking money wherever they can. All right, so the War Z is gone. Infestation Survivor Stories is closing down in a couple of weeks. Romero's Aftermath is closing down in a couple of weeks. Infestation World is closing down in a couple of weeks. The internet has been cured,
but it's
right?
not over yet.
But just like a zombie gets up. Oh, boy. Now we enter in still OP Productions, so they are the publisher. A new developer is, paying for the rights, royalty payments or whatever with them to bring Infestation: The New Z to Steam as well. So you can go and check that out. It is also free to play. The reviews aren't very flattering, just like the previous titles. I did reach out to the new company for Dacus and just say, hey, what's the affiliation with Sergei Titov? Because we've found that not a lot of places were upfront with him being involved in it still. And I'm sorry, I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not casting any judgments on him personally, but from what I've seen publicly, not somebody I would personally do business with or give my money to, and I know a lot of people feel the same way. The new developer, who is making total changes to the game from the way they're saying it, from the ground up, and if they're legit, awesome, go do your thing, and I hope it becomes the game that Infestation players always wanted it to be, but felt like they were never being listened to. They say that all they do is pay their royalty to OP, and they are free to do whatever they want with the game itself. They're in no way affiliated on a development cycle with Sergei Titov. So, are you going to play, either of you? I'm not.
No, I've always found it on the same level as H1Z1. It's just another buggy zombie
I think
game.
H1Z1 is leaps and bounds better.
I don't. I think
that's saying a lot
crap.
because I don't think highly. I don't think very highly of H1Z1, but yeah. And hey, to the Infestation players that have stuck by that game for years because you just saw something that other players didn't, I really hope this one works out for you, and I am, Godspeed. Let's head over and do the weekly bombs. Jason, let's get yours out of the way.
All right, I'm going to give an A-bomb to long queue times, which I absolutely hate. My least favorite thing in a game. Nothing gets me out of a game quicker than having to wait like 8 to 10 minutes to get into a match. It's really hit me when I've been playing Armored Warfare lately with the new map that I've been working on in that, a little article on that. But it sounds like they're actually going to get some stuff in the game. I just did a little write-up on their 2.0 update they're getting ready for that should help reduce those queue times a bit. So if that's the case, maybe I'll check back in, but until it does, then don't think I'm going to at all. I mean, Gigantic has been like that too when I was in for the betas and so on. Even watching the streams, watching the devs stream, they couldn't get into a match for like 8 to 10 minutes. So pretty ridiculous. Gigantic's one of those games where like I saw it when it first was announced, and then like 3 months later, Overwatch was announced, and that just consumed me. So that and now Paladins also is what a lot of people are into, and I feel bad for Gigantic. I just think they just waited too long to get out. They just had too many issues, and they're probably just going to be swept aside by games like Overwatch and Paladins now. So
you did the first look for Gigantic. That's up on the site and on the YouTube channel if you want to check it out. What was your just kind of real briefly overall impression of the game? Even though it's still in testing, of course.
It was a lot more faster paced and chaotic than I remember. I seem to recall when I played it, when I got my real playtimes at PAX East like almost 2 full years ago now. It seemed like I was able to like execute my strategies a little better. Didn't just get in a mess and get chopped down to bits immediately. It just felt a little, I guess, slower back then, or maybe a little more tactical. But I don't know. Maybe that's just how I've been playing. Maybe I'm so out of practice that I don't know how to play my characters anymore. We'll see. I'm still going to give it a shot when advances past into like open beta or whatever. But
Open beta's December 8th, I believe.
is that it?
It's right around the corner here. They've got the free weekend running now until the 4th, and then I believe they go to open beta on the 8th. I'm trying to see where our article is so that I can quote that correctly. Let's go to Zach for your weekly bomb. Yeah, here it is. Open beta hit Xbox One and Windows 10 on December 8th. Go ahead, Zach.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to Star Wars The Old Republic, Knights of the Eternal Throne. It's finally exiting its early access today, at least for those of you listening, but tomorrow for when we're recording, obviously. But I can't wait to get my hands on it because everything I keep hearing about it is really positive. And where the previous expansion, it was a mix, but mostly positive. So because the reception's been good, I can't wait to hop into it. I just didn't want to buy into the early access because I don't believe in pre-ordering. And basically all it was, hey, subscribe for 2 months, aka pay $30, and then pay an extra $15 to renew your sub the next month to be able to play the entire expansion. And that wasn't what I was going to do. So I look forward to playing it, though, and spending $15 again and playing it for a month and then dropping it again until next year.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to Infestation. Not to the players, obviously, who see something in the game. Everybody likes what they like. Just to the situation as a whole. It's a fucking nightmare. From the viewers, and Jason, I'm going to keep passing this back and forth between Zach and I, save you on the voice here.
I can handle it. I'm
you all right? All right.
I'll be all right.
I'm just looking out for you.
Actually, the throat's been less sore today. The last few days were pretty bad. I'm talking okay. Just my head gets explodey. So.
You are a trooper. So, what do we got here? Void, guys, I think you should bring different guests onto the show from time to time. YouTubers who play other free-to-play MMOs regularly, like Bog Otter, Jason's good mate from Guild Wars 2. Richie Procopio, great guy. Both of us, Jason, have worked with him at one time or another at Gamebreaker. Yep. Also, aka Mike B, another person we've both worked with, or another.
He's too expensive for us.
I would love you even more. Void, to answer that question, we definitely will do that. In fact, aka Mike B has been on 2 or 3 different free-to-play casts. Back when Star Wars was going free-to-play, actually, I know is one of them. I think the other one's slightly before that. So yeah, we're definitely open to it. Having people like Larry Everett come on, when we have Star Wars news, stuff like that. Absolutely. Go ahead, Zach.
Craig Ayers stated, I played Skyforge a long time. I made up 8 different people and different classes to God mode and was having fun. They did a major update and I went, what the hell? They changed everything. It was like playing a new game. I would have had to find everything again, tried for a couple of hours and went no, so I stopped playing it.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of that feedback where the existing players hated those changes, but the changes were designed more to get other players to come back, and we don't really have numbers or anything, an idea yet of how well it worked.
It goes back to my point earlier about Paragon. Revamps are very risky, so hopefully it works for Paragon, and it doesn't seem to have worked for Skyforge. So
go ahead, Jason.
Hellsworth says, the bomb to Mr. J. Winters, as he absolutely has a great set of to show his address online, and for Mr. Burns' podcast edit skills, and of course an A-bomb for tobacco and lung cancer. Get rid of that.
Yeah, Jason, just giving the world his address.
Obviously, though, he didn't read it well enough. He thought my name was Winters.
It's displayed right
Yeah,
here.
but that's not my name. It wasn't written on the thing.
Jason Winter.
This is
Hellsworth, take a look. Jason Winter in
I
his
can't
lower,
see
his lower third, right here.
Did you just like write a little S there or something?
Yeah, you put a little
probably do that. Yeah,
paint shop S. Jerry Senseni says, I think Revelation will be great once they fix the sub or drop the sub or dub and bugs. I like the combat. The FPS was too low. I love the open world. I really hope it's fixed in the next closed beta. LOL. Jerry, I'm kind of right there with you. I think it's got some potential. We've talked about how torn I was about posting the first look when we did. That's why I put a big 30-second disclaimer at the beginning of it. Go ahead, Zach.
Sailor Naruto says, what is the difference between an expansion and an update? ? It's the size. Scale, the vastness.
Size matters.
Size matters.
Yeah, price in most cases. To me, Sailor Naruto to kind of, yeah, because there's a lot I've seen Ion refer to things as expansions, and we've had that discussion on previous podcasts too. On this is I think who was it? It was Path of Exile that said it was an update, and we thought it was more of an expansion. At the same time as another game said it was an expansion, and we thought it was more of an update. To me, personally, an expansion is a huge drop of new content, whether that be new zones, new levels, new things like that, where an update is a play on existing content, whether it's additional story or things like that. That's just my own personal kind of like brain going there.
Unfortunately, though, marketing-wise, expansion sounds a lot better than update.
Of course it does.
So.
Of course it does. Who's next? Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, Miko-chan13 says, the bomb to ArenaNet for the Guild Wars 2 Living World storyline getting better and better. Now they finally found their stride after the chaos of the first few years of constantly experimenting in development.
Would you agree, Jason, being a Guild Wars 2 guru?
I've barely played it, so I can't really say.
So no. Ben B says, the bomb to Tiger Knight Empire War, a game Jason has dabbled in. I've been really enjoying it. Spent 50 hours in it in the last 2 weeks. Still having fun. It seems like a combination of Mount and Blade, World of Tanks, and Dynasty Warriors. Not 3 games I would ever have thought would mess with each other well, but it somehow works and contains some real tactical depth. And I think, Jason, you would agree with that.
Yeah, I need to get back in. I haven't played since that first night I tried it out. I need to get back into it and dabble around with it more. Maybe do a first look at some point if
I played it quite a bit. I think probably about 20, 30 hours in it.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So it's a really fun game. I like it a lot. I agree with everything it says, and the development team has done everything really well so far, like improving it, optimizing it. So I'm looking forward to what it turns into as it moves towards sort of getting towards its potential, because right now it's almost there.
Mike's just down on it, though. He's like, that looks boring.
It does.
Come on, man.
It does.
Hacky, slashy, all that shit.
I mean, it may be fun to play, but it looks boring. I hate watching somebody play Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, there you go. That's your problem.
True.
You know, I'll play it, but I hate watching somebody play it. It's boring as shit. Zach, go ahead and take the next one. Probably the best YouTube name ever.
Salami Smuggler.
Yeah, baby!
I love bringing out the popcorn for the NC Soft financial reports.
It's a highlight of my, like, every 3 months, my highlight is getting
R.I.P. Wildstar.
We will purposely delay talking about that just because it didn't fit with when Jason was going to be in the free-to-play cast rotation.
Well, no, you actually put me on. I was supposed to get the last one off.
Yep.
And you said, nope, you're going back on. My NC Soft financials are out. So.
Yep. Go ahead, Jason. Finish us off here.
69 Alpha, 69 Wolf, 69.
That is a lot of 69.
Giggity.
Says, I don't know why people call games like Guild Wars 2
Magicman 2016.
I don't know why people call games like Guild Wars 2 free to play. It's not and never has been. It was buy to play when it came out, and then it gives each piece as it releases a new expansion and charges you for it. If you want to play it always free to play, then just stay one expansion behind. As for Rift, they don't give you the content if they make you pay for the slot to use it. You're not giving content. If you can't use the content, then it's not given.
Which is why Rift reverted for the latest expansion and just said pay for the expansion and forget all buying this slot shit.
Yeah, and did you actually remember when you had to pay money to get into Guild Wars 2 and now you don't? So I don't know what he's going on about. Yeah, the new stuff, you have to pay for the expansion to get the new content, but in terms of the large part of the game, it's not buy to play.
Question of the week last week. Obviously, everything, speaking on this topic, for free would be awesome, but knowing publishers and developers do have to make money, how would you like to see expansions or additional content treated money-wise? Pay for it all, buy pieces, some other idea you've come up with? Why? Hellsworth says, as for the question of the week, I'm a play to get it kind of guy. I don't mind that other people pay to get content ahead of me, provided I get the opportunity to play the game my way. Sometimes I don't mind to wait as needed in order to craft some keys to open gates or to get some content or even farm or grind some currency to trade in to partially pay for something I need to get as I delve further and further into the game. I find this both engaging and intellectually stimulating, and afterwards, it'll be an achievement or even a badge of honor for me, especially if it's well done with the store in a more role-playing kind of way. All in all, it can be a unique experience where everyone can win, and not a forceful capitalistic micro-nagging endeavor. Now, is this enough to sustain a game? Well, the size of the community needs to dictate that, I guess. But when you look at certain games that make it, you can't expect other games that do not do it to not do it. As examples, Warframe, Path of Exile, Marvel Heroes, Dota 2, League of Legends, Heroes of the Storm, Smite, Paladins, Paragon, insert random TCG, Star Trek Online, DDO, have in-game currencies that you can trade to get store currency, so you can more or less work your way through the game over time. And I think I'm with Hellsworth there, but then I also have that added level of, this is taking way too stupid long, and you did this on purpose.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I mean,
Zach.
I wish Star Wars: The Old Republic did that, so I didn't have to sub to it all for the expansions, because I make a ton of money in that game, and so I could easily convert it to credits if they did that.
Well, you say that, but the actual it would probably be something like 50 million credits for a month.
Oh,
So,
I can make that easy.
Okay, then it would probably be
Challenge
200 million.
accepted.
Then it would be 200
Challenge
million.
accepted, Jason.
No. Then they would, if you think you're that good, it's the guys who play like 20 hours a day who are going to be the ones who are going to afford it, not you. So
I
challenge
like
accepted.
that Zach is now bitching about $15.
Hey,
he's
hey,
like,
with-
yeah, BioWare, you created all this great stuff. Oh no, I don't want to give you $15 for it. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying it'd be nice, because with World of Warcraft, I have so much currency that I have like 3 months bought already if I ever want to go back to that game. And if I want to get more, I could easily spend like probably an hour, couple hours, and just double that money. So it's easy.
Go ahead, Zach. Take the next one.
Turkey says the following. Team Fortress 2 is a nice example. Free to try out, not free to play, really. I think that there should be another new word for those that come out.
I think free to try is what it's called. You just nailed it.
Team Fortress 2 though?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not. I wasn't. I read that, and initially, Jason had the same reaction. I was like, "Really? I thought Team Fortress 2
I know they put in some like content packs for like some little bit of new content, and I haven't played Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, I don't play it enough to be like, oh, Turkey's right or wrong. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, what? Free to try? I don't know if I would put Team Fortress there. Turkey, we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You may know more about the game than us at the present time. I know it from years ago. Miko, is it your turn? Go ahead.
Miko Chan 13 says, "Congrats on passing 200. Personally, I like buy to play for expansions."
I do too. What do we got here? Sailor Naruto 39. Question of the week. Maybe it's just me and the design of the games I play these days, dungeon crawlers, instance-based, or MOBAs. But hell the fuck no, I wouldn't pay for an expansion. That's why me and my broke ass plays free to play. I don't know. I haven't played an open world MMORPG in about a year. And I think for those types of things, it makes more sense to not pay for the expansion, because they're generally so well monetized in other ways with characters and skins and a sustainable path. I don't know if that would work quite as well in a open world MMORPG, things like that. Go ahead, Zach.
John D says, as to the question of the week, I don't think there is a right or wrong way to introduce new content / an expansion. I think it's more defined on the cash shop experience. What I mean by that, with editing, Mike.
Sorry.
What I mean by that is, if your cash shop is pay to win, you better not be charging for content, period. But if all you sell is the quality of life / decor items, I could see charging for content in one form or another. So in short, I feel paying for expansion content in a free-to-play game is fine, as long as their ongoing payment model is fair and unnecessary.
Go ahead, Jason.
Eknap Voklal says, "I prefer when games have only cosmetic and XP boosters for purchases, and I would like to see some support the producers of this game if you enjoy it, that you see when pirating games or watching YouTubers that add their Patreon site."
And I'm just going to add, how do you know that's the message you see when you're pirating games?
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. James Esparza says, I have no problem with a company charging for expansion, but I find it hard to be willing to dish out cash based off marketing hype leading up to said expansion. This is a great point. It would be cool if a percentage of that expansion, and maybe the main quest centered around the expansion, could be played to a certain extent. Salt the audience a little, give them a hands-on experience of what's to come. I really like this idea. I really like that general thought, James. That's stellar stuff from MMO Bombers. Go ahead, Zach.
The crowd says, when I played WildStar's closed beta, I kept telling everyone it's a decent game, but I wouldn't pay per month to play it. I think everyone agreed with that. Fast forward 2 years later, a bomb to Final Fantasy XIV FC members who quit to play a game doomed from the start. I tried playing it when it went free to play, but just couldn't get into it. Its action isn't visceral. Visceral. I cannot freaking speak. I cannot read today. And the starting inventory limitation is horrendous. Rip your 8 collector's copies of WildStar, Mike.
Clearly, I
LOL.
pasted that into the wrong section of the show notes. But hey, it's not 8 collector's copies. It's 1 collector copy and 11 standard editions. Question of the week next week. Time to write your letters to the MMORPG Santa. Well, that's great, man. You got that sick voice going right now.
Yeah, I got the deep set. Tell Santa what you want.
What do you want this holiday season in the world of MMOs and why? Could be something totally realistic you'd like to see in your games or something totally outlandish. I don't care. Tell us what you want MMORPG Santa to bring you, and we'll put it on next week's show. Until next week, Jason, where can everybody find you?
You can come sit on my lap.
Oh my God, I knew you were going to go there.
Find me on Twitter at WinterInformal. Find me streaming at twitch.tv/Jason.
Or just send him something to his address. Zach, where can everybody find you?
If you want to see me slaughter the English language, best place to do that is on Twitter at Zach Sharps.
I'm Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at magicman1, MAGICKMANN1. Of course, follow MMO Bomb at MMO Bomb while you're there so that you are kept apprised on all the latest articles, videos, first look, shows, and giveaways, and more. Until next week, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.